This show is presented by Manscaped. Go to manscaped.com/dangle to receive 20% off your next purchase. Bald.
Bald?
Yeah.
Balls.
Oh, true.
Typo.
Yeah,
Typo.
true. Let's do it.
The Steve Dangle Podcast. Powered by Sports Interaction. Canada's Sportsbook.
S-D-P. The Steve Dangle Podcast. With your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Vancouver Canucks got a point. Yay! Ladies and gentlemen, the Vancouver Canucks blew their fourth straight multi-goal game lead. I mean, boo for that. Boo for that.
There it is.
Boo, there it is.
Boo,
exactly.
There it goes.
And after the players-only meeting, no less. Imagine all the players meet, and yet they can't get better.
Oh, man.
That's honestly what I love the most is that Steve has Thatcher Demko as his fantasy goal.
Oh, I do not have a good goalie lineup.
What do you have? Last year you went all goalie.
I know, and this year I overcompensated in the wrong direction. And
Thatcher Demko would have been a good pick, though.
I thought Thatcher Demko, because he's going to play a lot of games, and I assumed he was going to be over 500. Sergei Bobrovsky, because he won a shitload of games, and then Spencer Knight starts making the best saves in the world, and I'm like, oh shit, he might be a tandem or backup pretty soon. And then a goalie who I really like, but I did not need to waste a draft pick on him, Pavel Francouz.
You have three goalies?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
What are you supposed to do?
You didn't watch the Jesse Blake Sports Report where I did a whole fantasy breakdown of how to build your fantasy hockey team.
I like having a backup to my backup.
Oh god! You're losing games you can get for counting stats. The goalie category, the only counting stats is wins and shutouts. You can't count stats you can't try and pile up shutouts because they're too infrequent. You know, wins. If you try and get a good goal, you can try and win that category, but you'd rather sacrifice that little one category and have an extra rostered player to get more things like shots, blocks, hits.
Why are you yelling at me?
Assists, all the major counting stuff. There's like a million skater counter stuff. So why would you take a roster spot away from that category and have an extra goalie on your roster? It makes no sense.
Well, we launched Drew and Stu, and apparently we're also launching the Jesse Blake lecture report.
That's coming up later, by the way. The Drew and Stu launch.
Very simple fantasy advice. Less goalies better.
Jesse's lecture there should have been probably what Bruce Boudreau did last night, or at least that's what you would expect him to do. But Bruce actually said after the game, with the Canucks blowing the multi-goal lead again, that he didn't say anything. And I thought this was interesting. He's like, you know what? They seemed angry enough with the way the sticks were being tossed. I'll talk to them tomorrow.
I think that's the way to handle it. Because, listen, the worst teams in the league are not leading at all. Right?
True. They've been up in every game they've played.
They're not going to... There's a reason this has never happened before. They're not going to do this every game. I mean, unless they do. But they know they're better than this. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I mean, if you're the coach, you've already said whatever there is to say. The players have put it on themselves by having a players-only meeting, and then they lost again. I don't know what the coach is supposed to do about that. And I've already heard Bruce Boudreau's name as being in the hot seat. Why?
He is literally playing with the same roster he ended last year with. They haven't changed anything, but Kayev's not even playing.
I think we have fairly substantial evidence that Bruce is not the problem. So I don't see what firing him would do at all. Todd Richards gets fired in Columbus. I can't believe we're bringing it up again. And then the ship seems to get righted. Well, did the ship get righted, or did Sergei Bobrovsky just make a save every now and again? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying it's on the Canucks goalies. I'm not saying it was on Spencer Martin last night. I don't know what the answer is there. I think the answer is probably closest to what Bruce suggested, which is just give it a sec. It'll be okay.
The reason there's a little bit of is Bruce going to be here for the long term is that the Canucks were even unsure to bring him back.
Well, that's because he was saying you got to give me a raise, and they were saying no.
So the contentious contract negotiations made I guess the Aquilinis and everybody below believe that, oh, maybe this isn't our guy for the long term. And then you have this start. So there's reason for discussion as if they want to keep going with this guy.
Yeah, there's reason for discussion. I think there's a coach in a hot seat, and that's Lindy Ruff. But they did win yesterday.
Staying on the Canucks, though.
I know.
I do.
Bouncing around.
It just doesn't.
Bruce,
I don't see it changing a thing.
You just fired Travis Green within the calendar year.
Yeah.
Like you can't. Bruce Boudreau is not the problem. Clearly not. It's just firing the coach is probably what Canucks fans are used to saying. I can tell you, as a Leaf fan, we went through a lot of coaches in those bad eras. And honestly, like when I look at Paul Maurice, I look at Ron Wilson, I look at who was the guy?
Randy Carlyle?
Randy Carlyle and Peter Horacek. Randy's style was clearly a problem. But did any of them really get a great team to work with? Any of them?
No. Paul Maurice's team, that's from like the basically from 2007, which is where most in-depth hockey analytics begin. And the analytics on those teams is they were actually quite good, but they couldn't get a save.
And actually, Paul Maurice, it's interesting, like until he got to Winnipeg, didn't have a good goalie in his entire career.
Yeah, we did.
Andrew and Steve did a whole piece on that.
We really should update that.
It was great.
Connor Hellebuck would screw it up. No, because I went through Paul Maurice's entire career, which was extensive, and we basically looked at all the goalies he ever had, and we looked at their stats with and without him.
Right.
Like before they got to town or after they left town, and the majority of his goalies were basically the answer was it wasn't Paul Maurice's fault. But then he had Connor Hellebuck for a long time and didn't win.
Right. So, listen, let's be honest. What's happened to the Canucks is bad luck.
No.
There's a little bad luck here.
I think there's an element of bad luck.
There's got to be I can see them being 2-2.
Mm-hmm.
It's the
mental.
NHL.
It's mental. I've seen it with the Leafs too many times. You don't blow 4 consecutive multi-goal leads because you're bad. I think if you're bad, you don't even get the lead. I think, listen, do they have defensive warts? Yep. Could they have gotten better goaltending? Yep. Should they have blown 4 consecutive leads? Absolutely not.
Multi-goal leads.
Multi-goal leads. That's just between the ears. And I mean, that's Bruce Boudreau's task, right?
And that's supposedly what he's really good at.
Supposedly
motivation.
I guess we'll see. But like we've talked about for years now, the Leafs have this crazy ability to lose traumatically in the first 5 games, usually by blowing a lead or something. Sure enough, they give up the game-winning goal with 18 seconds left in game 1 this year. And we've watched it follow them for the rest of the season. And it's not just the Canucks snapping this streak. It's when you snap the streak in game 5, then game 6 arrives, and you have a multi-goal lead again.
Then you're thinking, better hold it. Yeah. And this is why it never totally holds up to me that it's early in the season, because there are things that develop early that stay with you. And there are things that are there early that you are able to work through, right? As a team, if the good teams are able to work through their warts. So I think it's really important to see how a team starts. No matter how this goes, the Vancouver Canucks could have had as much as 8 points.
That's a wild amount of points left off.
They could be first in the NHL right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because they were up by multiple goals, guys. It's not like it was like, oh, maybe.
And you were like, okay, it's a luck, but there's some stats that back up that the Canucks just aren't performing well in certain areas on the ice. Like there's a great thing in the province about their penalty kill. So there's a 50% chance right now if the Vancouver Canucks take a penalty that they're going to allow a goal.
They need Mikheyev back in that lineup so bad.
And when I say there's a 50% chance that they allow a goal, it's not just for the power play for the other team. 53% of shots taken against the Canucks power play have been goals.
Oh my God.
Thatcher Demko has saved 47%. He saved 53% of shots on the penalty kill.
That's mental.
That's
remember
crazy.
the Oilers? Remember the Oilers a few years ago?
Yeah.
They had that they had like a
Historic.
60% success rate on the penalty kill.
Mm-hmm.
But they were one of the top teams in the league on the road or something like that.
Yeah, it was the home penalty kill, and it was the lowest in history by like February. And I think eventually they got up over the lowest bar.
Over the hump?
Over the hump.
Yeah, but like you can't, with that kind of ridiculous split, you can't tell me that's not mental.
Right, and even so, they're looking at the face-offs taken on the power play as well. They have 15 draws on the penalty kill, and they've won just 4 of those face-offs.
That's not good enough.
They're not doing anything on the penalty
So
kill.
you
there.
never have
And-
possession, and you can't make a save.
Isn't that
exactly.
specifically what Curtis Lazar was brought in for?
So Curtis Lazar amongst those numbers is 0 for 6.
Oh!
And
Is Curtis Lazar potential? Like, well, how many have they won? 4 out of 15.
draws?
Yeah.
4 of 15 penalty kills.
Well, so he's the biggest problem on that.
Well,
Yes,
that's not
100%.
That's also not going to stay that way. Like the
Of course
worst
not.
face-off guy in the league is still going to win like 40%.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But like, there's some clear flaws here with the team. A lot of that's luck. Like, nobody is going over forever.
No.
A lot of that's luck. But there's also clear flaws here. And the effort by Horvat, the effort by like everybody outside of Pettersson hasn't been the greatest. And I know some fans aren't happy with their defensive system. So there's some troubles in Vancouver, and there's that fucking 8 points on the board. 8 points is a lot of points. That's the difference between a playoff spot.
That's a
Well, and
real grumpy
They finished
way
with
to start the season. too.
Weren't they at 90 points last season?
yes,
A plus 8? That's
Yeah.
100. You're
They-
a playoff team.
yes.
Nope.
This is why the early season does matter.
Yes.
And I will get to that with the Leafs coming up because I have something to say about that as well. But I do want to say we reached out to our friends at Sports Interaction, and we thought because this story is so fabulous, and I emailed them an hour ago, and they were able to put this through, which is amazing. The prop is called the "Oops, there it is" prop
I can't believe this is real.
because it's not Bruce. There it is.
Cannot believe this is real.
Okay, Canucks lose after leading by 2 goals or more. You get yes at 6, no at 112.
This is versus the Wild.
Versus the Wild. And the Wild, by the way, are one of the 2 remaining teams without a point this year.
Oof. Yeah, that's weird.
The
eh?
Sharks, well, they've only played 3 games. The Sharks, the other one, they've played 5. And they've had 5 clean losses, not even in overtime.
Philly undefeated.
Yeah, I know, it's so stupid.
I'm taking no, they're not going to blow the lead. Even if they get it, they're not. I'm Canucks fans. I'm rooting for you and I'm betting on you. They're not going to do this 5 straight times. No.
That is going to be an infamous clip if it ends up happening.
They're not going to do it 5 straight times. We'll see.
The kiss of death. That's all I need.
So you can check that right now at sportsinteraction.com/STPN. It's the Oops, There It Is prop. By the way, the game is tomorrow as of this recording. So it's on Thursday night at, I believe...
Friday, 21st.
Oh, it's on Friday.
Oh, it's on Friday.
Oh,
Yeah.
so they got to sit in this? Oh, God.
Oh, boy. Yeah, boy.
Yeah, they play at Minnesota on Friday.
That's rough.
The $10 bet, by the way, if you think it's going to happen, that'll net you $60.
Yeah, because the odds of it happening are ridiculously low.
Yeah.
They are. They're ridiculously low, and that's why it's not going to happen.
Steve, say it. Confirm it. You want to look at this one?
This one.
The odds are what?
What are the odds? 6-1.
6-1.
The Vancouver Canucks will not blow a multi-goal lead on Friday against Minnesota.
It is actually Thursday. I checked it.
on Thursday against Minnesota.
They need
Yeah.
to change the site.
Oh, okay. Sorry. The 20th. It's the 20th. Yeah.
The site. says-
Okay. Well, okay. I'll email.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, on the 20th, the Wild, the Canucks, the Wild are going to be. Here's what makes this bet interesting is that the Wild haven't scored a point. They don't have one,
That's wild.
and that is wild. And
I didn't even mean.
especially with the way that I chose them in our rankings this year. I'm a little upset about how they've started the season. But to be honest, like they're going to be the guys going, Vancouver's on their heels. This is our chance to get back in this thing. We cannot go 0-4.
You talk about 2 teams that are pretty desperate right now. It's going to be That's a must-watch game.
Yes.
It's the second week of the season.
Yep.
It's a must-watch game.
You know what? I think they might just lose straight up.
The Canucks?
Yeah. They might not even get the lead.
Have you considered you might be a bad person?
I might just take Minnesota straight up.
I'm just asking the question. You ever thought that you might be kind of a piece of shit?
Maybe maybe the team they built isn't very good and they just lose.
Oh, wow.
I don't know,
man. Listen. The team didn't make the playoffs last year, but I think you have to look at the Canucks and go, okay, well, they had a better second half than they had first half. But they basically changed nothing and added Mikheyev. And they won a bunch of games in that February-March zone where teams are a little
They had,
there's a little bit of that. What do they call it? The score effects of the calendar?
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
Schedule losses. So there's been a lot of discussion over the last couple of days about the regular season not mattering, seriously and sarcastically. The preseason. Preseason doesn't matter. Preseason matters a little bit. Because they lost a lot. They lost an awful lot. Regular season arrived.
So did the Coyotes.
God damn it.
And it's interesting you bring that up because the Leafs stunk it up for 50 minutes during the Coyotes, then turn it on and then get a bad call go against them in a review, turns into a glove pass. And I'm going to give you... So here's the thing. We're going to start with the controversy of the Leafs-Coyotes game. But then we're going to talk
thing.
Yes, but then we're going to talk about the real problem, which is what I had mentioned first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
lots of flavors. Do you think they got jobbed or played like shit? Maybe you want the they played like shit and got jobbed swirl cone.
Ooh, I like that. Sounds delicious. So this is what the Situation Room said. The Situation Room determined that Morgan Rielly batted the puck with his hand inside the attacking zone before teammate Mitchell Marner subsequently gained possession and control. According to Rule 79.1, a player may bat a puck in the air with his open hand unless, in the opinion of the on-ice officials, he has directed the puck to a teammate or has allowed his team to gain advantage and subsequently possession and control of the puck is obtained by a player of the offending team, either directly or deflected off of a player or official. So, by the way, the NHL rulebook, if you've ever read pieces of it, is full of run-on sentences. In this case, it was deemed that Marner was the first player to gain possession and the puck and control of the puck after Rielly batted it with his hand. Note, in the final minute of play regulation of the third period, at any point in overtime, hockey operations will initiate a review of any scenario that would otherwise be subject to a coach's challenge. Now, the reason we say that is a lot of people, and this is where you think the blown call might be, there was a player on the Coyotes who had his stick in Morgan Rielly's glove. That's a penalty.
Yep. And you can see it's a penalty on the video you're reviewing.
That's right. So that is a clear penalty, and they could have called that.
And I have long maintained that you're not doing extra work, right?
Yeah, you're already there.
You're watching. You can, on the same clip, be like, that's a hand pass, and also the Leafs should be going to the power play. Why? Why can't you review that? We're reviewing every other goddamn thing. Why can't we review that?
So the second thing is that the question of the blade of the stick in Morgan Rielly's hand, it's not Morgan Rielly's sticks, it's the Coyotes player, but the blade of the stick is the thing that hit the puck. A lot of people are saying, listen, the Coyotes player hit the puck from Morgan Rielly's hand. Now, I don't know if you can really see that, but I look at that and I go, to me, it looked like the Coyotes player hit the puck.
Like, could it be a battle?
Mm-hmm.
Here's what I would say. Based on the rule, they made the right call. They made the 100% right call based on the wording of the rule. What I would argue is the rule is asinine. The rule. What is Morgan Rielly meant to have done there? What should he have done? What would have been acceptable? The Coyotes go to clear it along the boards. Go by. Fucking no! Yeah. I'm trying to win the game.
Or close your fist.
Or no, that'd be a hand pass too.
Yeah, he touched it with his hand.
So what with his head? Yeah. Should he have tried to jump and hit it with his head?
He's supposed to let it go by.
Listen, if Rielly goes whack and nails the thing and it goes cross ice one-timer onto Matthew's stick, yeah, that's a hand pass. He passed it with his hand. This was a prevention of the puck from leaving the zone. That's it. So Riley is being penalized for keeping the puck in the zone, and Marner is penalized for being in position, I guess. What's Riley meant to have done? So he bats the puck down, and now it's on him to let, I think it was Clayton Keller, let Clayton Keller get possession of the puck, and then it's Marner's job to come steal it off him? No! So the way the rule is worded, they got the call right. The fact, though, that that's not a goal under the rules is stupid.
And it
genuinely,
it plays into a bigger thing, which is the excitement in the arena was going off. The Twitter was going off. Everybody was excited. How does disallowing that goal make the NHL better? How does that review make the NHL better? The refs missed it. And this is my thing. I've always said this. If you want human beings to ref the game, then you should have human errors in refereeing the game.
I don't think it should be an error.
They should have called a penalty. They didn't.
Yeah,
they should have called a glove pass. They didn't. Don't the two cancel each other out? But what the NHL did here was not only did they kill the momentum of the game, everybody was excited. Everybody's excited. And probably stop a game from going into overtime, which is even more exciting.
No.
Instead,
you can't have it.
And listen, take the Leafs out of it for a second. This is my thing. Take the Leafs out of it for a second. If this happened to your team, if we're all being rational here, nobody likes this. And for what's the WWE have, guys, where they have like a rating system for how well a match went?
Oh, the Dave Meltzer 5-star rating.
And there's like rarely a 5-star match.
It's very rare.
Yeah. Exactly. And the reason they have that is because they want to make sure that their product is entertaining for who?
Well, that's not the WWE who's doing that. He's a journalist.
Oh, okay. I think the WWE has something internally though, and they have.
They probably do.
Have people that are like in their rating matches and going like afterwards. They take them aside and go, "Hey, listen, if you've done this here, we were hoping that you do a little of this here."
Sure.
When you're looking at a product, an entertainment product, which the NHL is, how does that make it better? Because what I see there is a glove pass. And potentially Keller batting it out of his hand, but that I don't want to distract. And a penalty. So how do they not cancel each other out? And if the refs miss it, then they fucking miss it.
Here's
it's
my
not
question.
Offsides are blatant. That is ridiculous.
Taking the Leafs out of it and pretending there was only one team in the game, and it was the Arizona Coyotes.
Let's say it's the St. Louis Blues and Florida Panthers.
Would the Coyotes have been wronged if that goal stood? You know what I mean? Did the Leafs gain an advantage that screwed the Coyotes from that play? My answer is no. And I know what the rule says. So they would have been, the one reason they would have been screwed is, well, this is what the rule says.
Right.
My argument is the rule should not say that. Because again, I don't know what Morgan Riley is meant to have done. If he plays it with his stick, it's a high stick.
Yeah.
And then they review that. So if you play the puck,
you just gotta let it go.
If he's the next player to play it, then it's okay. If he played it off his own glove to his own stick and then played it,
that's asinine.
You can bring
the same shit.
You can bring the puck down to your own stick.
It's the same result.
Yeah.
So I'm allowed to play the puck with my hand, and I, who am still on my team, am allowed to play the puck after playing it with my hand.
And then you pass it with your
I pass it to
stick.
myself, and I pass it with my. Do you see the ridiculous bullshit that we're talking about?
Yes.
Under the rule, it's not a goal. The rule sucks ass. That doesn't make sense. So if you play the puck 5 feet off the ice, it's like getting a star in Mario. It's just, you can't be defeated. It's if you manage to lift the puck without throwing it over the glass, automatic zone exit. Fuck off. That's stupid. And the Leafs got fucked because the rule book stinks.
Well, and we've talked
about, they stink.
We've talked about this before. They've estimated, there was a study last year that estimated to rewrite the NHL rulebook to be more specific, because that's the biggest criticism of it. If anybody, you talk to any hockey expert, they'll say the problem with the NHL rulebook is it's so ambiguous that it leads to situations where the situation room, which everybody hates because unfortunately they're put in a position where they have to interpret the rule, because it is so gray, They're unable to make clear decisions and unable to keep things like it's black or white. Here's what it is.
Yeah.
And I know hockey's a game of gray, but I want to throw this out there. The problem with Monday night was not how the game ended. It was how the game started.
Okay.
And I think everybody's distracted by the fact that, well, that play, Steve, you make a really good point. What's Morgan Riley supposed to do there? They stopped an incredible comeback. It would have been a really fun overtime, no matter what team had won. But the reality is the Toronto Maple Leafs were awful for 50 minutes.
And I know
you can't do that.
I know there's a big contingent of Leaf fans who are like, it's game 4. That Sheldon Keefe quote after the game should send a chill down your spine, and it should make you reconsider watching this.
Is that the Elite Players one?
No, even worse than the Elite Players one. The quote where he said, we had a shift early in the game where we had possession for 90 seconds, and I think it lulled us to sleep like the game was going to be easy. You're fucked. You're never going to win anything. You're never going to win anything with that kind of attitude. And this is Sheldon Keefe's challenge now for the rest of the season. Is he needs to club that mentality out of the team. Mm-hmm. So, the elite players aren't being elite. Well, any of us can see that, and we can put it on the players. I think the guys making millions of dollars, the guys making 8 digits, should show up to the arena with an app on their phone that tells them what time the game starts.
Well, and this is he said, Sheldon Keefe did say, the difference between us and the Coyotes is that we have elite players and they don't, and ours did not play like elite players tonight.
Yeah. First of all, great bulletin board material for the Coyotes when you go to their building and they beat you again. Second of all, they will. And second of all, it's his job to have this team motivated, vaguely giving a shit, vaguely giving an effort.
Mm-hmm.
And when they're getting dominated, like they were in Game 6 against Montreal. Again, Mitch, Austin, Himes, you guys are getting dominated. Dominated. I remember him shouting it during the Amazon documentary. And they weren't able to be the heroes of that game. And the problem was they were getting dominated. And now the problem is they're too good? Where's the solution?
Well,
for God's sake.
And so I think the solution is, and I think everybody knows this, the Leafs started really slow last year, but listen, they picked it up and they were unbelievable the rest of the way, despite terrible goaltending, right?
Yeah.
They're terrible goaltending. But let me run you through the first 7 games last year. Can I?
Sure.
I want to run you through the first 7 games and how they all went. They started the season with a 2-1 win, an emotional win against the Montreal Canadiens who had beaten them in the playoffs.
That was a fun one.
Then the next game was the Ottawa Senators, where they lost 3-2. Then the next game, Ottawa Senators again, 2 nights later. It's a 3-1 win. Okay, cool.
Right.
So they lost in Ottawa, but they won in Toronto against Ottawa.
All right.
They lose the next game a couple days later against the New York Rangers 2-1 in overtime. So now we're at 5 points. And then they lose the next 3. The Sharks, 5-3. The Penguins, 7-1. You remember that one?
They got killed.
And the Carolina Hurricanes, 4-1. Now, at that time, I remember tweeting out something. I was very frustrated because to me, it was everything that went wrong in the Montreal series went wrong in the first 7 games, and people got on me for it. And the reason that I was so frustrated, and maybe this doesn't make sense, or maybe my logic's flawed here, but I look at the way the season ended last year. Who did the Leafs have to play in the playoffs?
Tampa.
Right, they had to play Tampa. That sucks, right? Tampa's really freaking good. And you know what? They're in a division of really good teams. The Leafs finished last year with 115 points. The Florida Panthers, who I would argue are on par, or I think the Leafs are better than Florida, honestly. That's honestly how I feel. Team to team, I think the Leafs are a better team. The Florida Panthers finished with 122 points. If the Leafs had gone 4-2, they would have been within striking distance of the Panthers all season long in that first 7-game stretch. And I know that I'm cherry picking here a little bit, but how you start, we talked about it last show, how you start really matters. Imagine they win 1, 2, 3, 4 of the first 7, 5 of the first 7.
Well, and
then
game,
all of a sudden,
game against Pittsburgh. So it's not just a matter of winning and losing. They were outclassed by Carolina. I remember that game. Pittsburgh didn't show up.
Yeah, that was because Malkin and Crosby didn't play that game, right? It was Evan Rodriguez was the top line center.
And context matters. And this was driving me insane around the discourse of this loss. Guys, they're going to lose games. The Coyotes are sub-NHL. They are beneath the standard of the best hockey league in the world, and the Leafs lost to them. They needed to come back to even tie the thing, and then they blew it with a stupid penalty with 2 minutes to go. That was before the hand
That
pass.
was a stupid penalty.
Yes,
Crazy.
Leafs fans can overreact. If the Leafs beat the Coyotes on Monday and then they lose to Dallas on Thursday, no one bats an eye because Dallas is fine. Good
goalie. Jesse's favorite.
Yes. No one bats an eye if you lose to the Dallas Stars because the Dallas Stars are supposed to be in the mix. The Coyotes, and the Coyotes know this, to be fair, are supposed to be free point night. You got the Coyotes at home in the middle of a homestand. Free pair of points.
And they don't get to play a home game.
And your problem, the reason your coach thinks you lost is you had a shift in the first period where you were too good? Holy fuck, you're in trouble. You're in so much trouble. Reconsider what you're doing. You don't need to play hockey. You can do anything you want. Life's too short. Just quit and skip it. If your problem is you're too good, and that's why you're losing, ew. Don't you see why so many of your own fans are sick of you? Like, Pete Blackburn had a great tweet. If there is a path to the most embarrassing way to lose possible, the Leafs will find it.
Well, Nick Ritchie scoring the first goal was so poetic.
Free money! Free money! Every betting company on earth that had Nick Ritchie scoring first lost, I hope, billions. That's free money.
Write it in a story, in a cheesy story, and the Leafs will find it. They'll make it real. Sometimes they just do. And listen, you can talk to me all day and I'll listen about how good this team is. But the bar is not lose to the Coyotes on a Monday night at home, guys.
Yeah,
the bar is President's Trophy, Stanley Cup.
And they can
the bar. They honestly
still.
We could say the whole rest of the, and people are like, oh, they're not going to go 82-0. But again, it's who they lose and how. Who they lose to and how.
You lose to Dallas, I don't even bat an eye.
No.
I go, Dallas is
well,
good.
Shit happens.
You can't lose the Coyotes at home.
You know why I don't mind the start they had last season?
Why?
Because after that stretch, Adam, what were they at the beginning of the season? What was the stretch?
They were like
2-5-1 or something?
2-5-1, but then they won 5 or 6 in a row after that.
They won 14 of 16 in November.
They went 15-2.
Holy shit.
Imagine
15-2 after that start.
Imagine they'd gone 15-2 and started 5-2.
Imagine they won every single game of the season.
Jesse, that's disingenuous. Honestly,
I don't hate the start to last season because of how they rebounded after that stretch. You know, and if they do something similar, like then you can pick it up. There's a way.
If you see how I changed my mind, Jesse's actually very kind because you're moving the goalposts for this sad sack of a team.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that come up on Twitter all the time. It's not like this, like the middle of the season and the end of the season matter. So does the beginning.
Oh yeah. But there's plenty of season left for them to make it up.
I agree, but I don't want them to have to make it up. Like, especially against the Coyotes. Like the one thing I have with the Leafs is
we're
like,
talking about this one game.
Right.
I know. And listen, that's
game was embarrassing.
We're here to overreact. So let's overreact. My thing is, what I never see out of this Leaf, I want to see one day. I want this team, because they have so much talent and they're so freaking good. I want them to just outright dominate somebody.
What if they don't? They don't have that? What if you?
They are that good,
Jesse.
though.
Are they?
That's the concern.
Yeah, I think we're kind of getting to the
You don't
point
think
where
so?
they're good.
We're only 4 games
bad.
in. We're only 4 games in, and I hope I'm wrong. I'm getting major 2019-2020 vibes.
No.
Yeah,
come
no,
on.
That season was unbridled agony. Please, for the love of God, don't repeat that miserable piece of shit of a season.
Jesse, I want to hear more about what you have
That
to say there.
season was terrible.
Like you guys are expecting, let's go out and dominate. And just this team hasn't done that. They've never done that.
They rack up a lot of points.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like they'll do that, and they'll finish maybe second in the division or whatever. Have a good. They might win a round, but like they're not. I don't expect them to go out and kill teams. They don't have it in them. They've never proven that.
Beat the Coyotes 3-2.
Nah, they don't have it in them.
When I would like a
get up for the game.
I want a couple 7-1. Just hey, you're 32nd in the league, and we're gonna rub your fucking face in it.
Yep.
That's what I want to see the Leafs do. I want to see the Leafs go out and go, hey, you're the Coyotes. You don't have a place to play. We have no idea what your ownership situation is, and none of you really would be at this level if you were on any team higher than the Coyotes. I'm going to rub your face. Instead, the Coyotes come in and do it to them.
They play the Sharks next week. I'm just going to...
I think it'll be fine against the Sharks. What I thought was, I could think was, like, I wish that controversial call, the glove pass call, hadn't have mattered.
Yes.
I wish it hadn't been a factor. And I hate to quote Babs, but leave no doubt against the Coyotes, guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I'm saying. That to me is the controversy. It's the 50 minutes.
Leave an abundance of doubt. The Toronto Maple Leafs story.
A lot of this is reminding me of the bubble season, like you said, Steve, because
no, the bubble season was the next one, 2020, 2021.
Oh, so well, this is reminding me of the next following season because I think that was just
wasn't it the Ayers season? The Ayers game?
No,
season?
Ayers was 1920.
Ayers was the 1920. Yeah, so the bubble season. We're thinking the same season. I'm thinking when they restarted the league
because they did.
The bubble playoffs. My bad.
Oh, okay.
Bubble playoffs. So we're talking about the same season because going into those playoffs, the expectations were like, oh my God, they're gonna beat Columbus. They're gonna get in and all that stuff. But looking at it on paper and the season they had, they were an 8 seed. They were an 8 seed in the Eastern Conference. Why were our expectations so grandiose? They're a team that fired their head coach. They lost a whole bunch of games. And like here, why are we expecting this Leafs team to get up for these games when they've never done that? Like last season, amongst this 15-2 stretch, they had that 8-3 win versus Colorado.
Yep.
Do you remember that?
Yeah,
they got up for that
because they should have. Because Colorado was starting their 17th goalie.
Yes, and they dominated here. But like they don't usually win these games. They don't have regular seasons where the Leafs look good throughout. No, they're very shaky.
They don't have a taste for blood.
Not at all. And year after year after year, we see that, we refuse to believe it.
They're not predator, they're prey.
We keep thinking that they're this 5-time Stanley Cup champion players on the team, and they've never won anything.
So they have prey DNA.
Drop back a little, and of course they lost to Arizona.
So I have a question.
The sooner they learn to be, and sorry, one
please go.
I don't expect them to dominate. What hurts is I hope
they can.
No, when have they done it?
Yeah, I know.
They can. They haven't.
They might.
They can. They haven't.
I don't know. In theory, when I was born, I could have been a professional hockey player.
You could have.
Yeah.
He might. He's only 34.
I could still.
Show me the evidence.
But there's not an abundance of evidence to support that
lay out the evidence that the Leafs are one of the best teams and have a shot at the Stanley Cup.
So let me ask you this, because I think you guys, I think you're right, Jesse. I think it's just we've never seen that killer. Okay, now we're gonna put these guys to bed. Like, let's start digging their grave. Like, that's the kind of, like, there are teams, it's like, like, this is the unstoppable force, and we're going to get crushed. There are teams that can play like that.
Pittsburgh never plays like they give a shit about you.
No, they don't.
They bury you under the earth.
And if you
do it to the Leafs all the time.
If you're a fan that doesn't get to watch a lot of teams outside of your own, watch the Pittsburgh Penguins if you can sometime. Just playing anybody. My question to you is, at some point, everybody had to develop the killer instinct. Pittsburgh's a great example. So Crosby and Malkin, no one can ever accuse them of not showing up when it matters.
No.
And that's early in the season too, by the way. So my question is, how do you develop that? These guys are still, and I know people are going to roll their eyes. I know Leaf fans are going to roll your eyes at me. They're still quite young. There's still time. None of these guys, none of their big three are in their prime. Matthews, Marner, Nylander, not in their prime yet. So what do you need to do? What is it? What's that What's that gear? How do you find
what
that?
if they don't have it in them?
I mean, I find it hard to believe that 'cause they've got all the skill in the world. You're telling me that you can't learn that?
It takes a different type of skill to win a game 7.
You know, when the Leafs season turned around last year, like we talk about the bad start and then they clicked. The bad start was unusually bad for them. The hot streak was unusually hot. Like no one is going to win. What was it?
15-2.
15 out of 17 games. Like I don't think the 2002 Detroit Red Wings did that. No one's going to do that. But what was the turning point? Do you guys remember? There was a moment, and it was the turning point. Matthews and Hall screaming at each other mid-game because they were mad and fed up that they were playing like shit. They need to get mad because they don't even... Getting mad is what engages them in the game. They're not mad. They're fat and happy, even though they haven't eaten a meal since the 60s. They got to get mad. So the best thing for this team, given recent history, is them getting smacked around for the next little while.
Well, maybe there's an instance versus Dallas where that happens.
A Mason Marchman hat trick where he dangles Dennis Malgin is...
Ooh. Is it on the books?
It is 12:33. The game is tomorrow in, what is it, 30 hours, roughly?
About that.
I called the Nick Ritchie goal and the Leafs losing. So, again, Pete Blackburn's tweet, if there is a path to the most embarrassing loss possible, the Leafs will find it. It's got to involve Mason Marchman. Let's see it. I can't wait.
Is Wednesday night hockey not a thing? Why aren't they playing tonight?
I don't know.
I bet it is a thing eventually.
Fucking, you work there.
Yeah.
I work on the YouTube channel. I work on the YouTube channel.
Hey, Steve, have you ever heard fucking you work there?
Some inside info would be nice.
They don't have a Wednesday night game for the rest of October. They've got 2, 3 in November.
Oh, okay.
But they have 5 Wednesdays in November, so 2 of them they will not. So anyway, listen, we could look back at this podcast at the end of the season if they win the President's Trophy, and I think they need to. I think you got to control your own destiny. If you're the Leafs, you need to choose who you play against, and you have to win the division. And in fact, I think you got to win the division. I think you got to win the President's Trophy. And to be honest with you, if they had even been neck and neck with the Panthers last year, or they had beaten the Panthers last year, the Panthers had blinked in a divisional race. The Leafs are not playing Tampa in the first round.
Not blowing leads to the Panthers.
They're not playing the Lightning in the first round, right? You get your all Florida first round matchup, and then the Leafs play the Lightning in the second round. Maybe they lose in this game 7. We're going, well, that's okay.
Did you see that the last time the Leafs beat the Coyotes outright, like the Coyotes didn't get a point in Toronto, was October 17th, 2002? Do you know what's significant about that date?
What is significant about that date?
That's Matthew Nye's birth date.
Where's Matthew Nyes from?
Arizona.
It's the curse of Matthew Nyes.
The Matthew Nyes curse. The day he was born was the last time the Leafs beat the Coyotes at home.
I'm fingers crossed the streak keeps going so we get something like Babe Ruth type with the Yankees and the Red Sox. It'd be fun lore for sports.
It would, I guess.
I'm a sports fan. I'm rooting for that. The curse of Matthew Nyes would be cool.
Man, I know, especially since they tried to trade him. I was thinking last night, a guy like Brandon Hagel would be so useful in a game like that where he's just such a shithead. I don't know. Anyway, long story short, we'll move on.
They're not playing their best hockey. Their offense is not clicking. They're not working hard at all. They're not working hard to generate goals. They have a shitload of puck time dancing around the edges doing fucking nothing, and they're taking way too many penalties. That's not the way this team
is built to
plays when they're built. That's not the way they're built to play. You're right. They're gonna play better. I just wish they did on Monday.
The Leafs have placed Jake Muzzin on injured reserve. We don't know. That's why I told you not to check. We don't know if it's long-term injury reserve, because long-term is 24 days minimum.
He's got the neck injury, right?
Yeah, but Krall will be recalled. Philip Krall will be recalled from the Marlies. I don't know if he's going to play. And Danny DeKeyser, by the way, has also signed with the Marlies, former Detroit Red Wing Danny DeKeyser.
On a tryout.
And Jesse's going to sign him actually in NHL 23.
NHL 23, Danny DeKeyser, quick tip, 80 overall in free agency, I believe. Last check. So there's a depth signing for your organization. as a fellow GM if you'd like to go that route of toughness.
Jesse with all
grit.
his cups last year.
Streams come back tomorrow, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Hey,
I
what's
think
the program this year? What are you going to do?
Arizona Coyotes franchise mode. I think with the Leafs losing on Monday, it's a perfect time to kickstart it back up. We're going to be doing 5 years. I got 5 years to win a Stanley Cup with the Arizona Coyotes. Normal rules as last year. If you weren't around, we're doing franchise mode, GM mode, and I'm not allowed to do anything a GM wouldn't do. So we have the head coach is allowed to do the lines, or it only touches the lines. So we do the auto. I can only make trades and signings, and like the owner mode handles all the pricing and all that fun stuff. It's good time.
So you are like limited.
GM.
I like that. Now, I'm curious about this because I haven't got NHL 23 yet. Is it actually Arizona State, or do they fake it and make it look like it's a big hockey arena?
So they use the default EA stadium.
Boo
the
earns.
ASU isn't in the game yet.
Earns.
I don't know if there's going to be a patch to put it in, but it's not in the game.
They better. Don't you gaslight me.
I was upset.
Yeah.
Half of the reason I wanted to do the Arizona Coyotes franchise mode was for the whole ASU theatrics, and it's not in the game.
And that it wouldn't surprise me if the NHL is like, yeah, well, in the game they have 18,000 fans there. So
yeah, it's a 19,000. It's like more than Air Canada Center. It's like 19,000.
The EA Center.
It's fucking stupid.
It's literally like the Corel Center in Ottawa, or Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa, right? They have 19,500, I think. It's huge.
Really?
Yeah, that's a huge,
it's a
huge
big
stadium,
one.
Yeah.
Guys, I've asked you this before. I'm going to ask you again. Are you taking care of them?
Are you going to work in like turkey into this one? Is it going to be
because
themed?
Canadians have already done Thanksgiving, and then you've got American Thanksgiving in 6 weeks.
And we don't really even care about Thanksgiving.
Canadians?
It's not a big deal.
I enjoy it.
Yeah.
But like American Thanksgiving is way bigger and better. And
I had
you want to
leftovers for breakfast.
There you go.
Great.
And while you're consuming that turkey, he wants me to
stuffing and
square
gravy
peg
at
round
9 in the
hole
morning.
this.
Yeah.
You might want to check out the Platinum Package 4.0. In fact, when American Thanksgiving rolls around, that's when you start thinking Christmas gift. Platinum Package 4.0. With this glorious package, you can align your entire hygiene routine in one swoop. Inside is a 10-part Platinum Package. Everything you need to know and everything you need to perform, plus some shower goodies and elevating your grooming game. Yes.
Would you say the Manscaped 4.0 would carve your turkey?
I would say
it would not. No nicks.
No nicks on your butter balls.
Hey! Go to manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping with the code DANGLE. That's 20% off and free shipping at manscaped.com when you use that promo code DANGLE. Manscaped, clear out the leaves. It's your tree trunk's time to shine.
Cook that bird.
Cornucopia on your scrotum.
Guys, I had somebody on Twitter tell me the other day that spicy cereal joke that you guys make at my expense is no longer funny.
Oh, really?
So when we talk about Magic Spoon,
the funny police tweeted you.
The funny police got back to me and they said, "Listen,
How
I'm
much
tired."
was the ticket?
It was a hotly suggestive tweet. Okay, and they were like, "Excuse me, find a new bit for Magic Spoon." So you know what I thought I'd do?
I'm the funny police.
Let me slide this under your windshield wiper.
I'm going to just give you the facts about Magic Spoon, okay? It's good for you. Magic Spoon has replicated your favorite childhood cereals to taste good and be good for you. Each serving contains 0 grams of sugar and over 13 grams of protein and less than 5 grams of carbs. Like I said, it's healthy. Again, low carb, keto friendly, gluten free, grain free, soy free. Relive those childhood moments watching your favorite cartoons on a Saturday morning. Plus, it's only 140 calories per serving. It's like there's magic in every spoonful, but not funny in every spoonful. I wouldn't want to go there.
Also, new flavors: jalapeno, cayenne, California Reaper.
Not necessarily, but they do have cocoa, fruity, frosted, peanut butter, blueberry muffin, maple waffle, and others. So go to magicspoon.com/SDP to grab a custom bundle of cereal and try Magic for yourself. And be sure to use that promo code SDP at checkout to save $5 off your order. Again, Magic Spoon is so confident in their product, it's backed by a 100% happiness guarantee. So if you don't like it for any reason, they'll refund your money, no questions asked. If you don't like our jokes, there's nothing you can do about it. Remember, Get your next delicious bowl of guilt-free cereal at magicspoon.com/STP and use that promo code. It's STP. Save $5 off. Ha ha. Börje Salming, Leaf great, also Detroit Red Wing for a bit. Börje Salming shared a message yesterday. It was rebroadcast by TSN, but I believe it was done by an outlet out in Sweden. You know, Börje Salming, I saw him at the Eaton Center in Toronto. He was just shopping. And I was just shopping, and there was Börje Salming, and I love Börje Salming. He's my favorite pre-life Leaf. And by that, I mean, like the guy who played for the Leafs before I was born. I love Börje Salming. And a few years ago, I don't know if you remember this, I told you, I'm like, oh my God, he's in great shape. So I did a little research on Börje Salming.
Oh, yeah.
And I found out that he has his own Swedish underwear line, of which he is one of the key models. Like, he was in such fantastic shape. And this is a person that had a skate blade to the face, who was known as one of the toughest Leafs defensemen of all time at a time when it was pretty usual for Canadians to say, oh, these Swedes, they're a bunch of sweethearts. You remember?
Yeah, which...
That was in the 90s. Imagine what the 70s were like.
Which wasn't based in reality.
At all.
Because if you had watched Börje Salming, you would know that's not true. When he was in the locker room for the Centennial Classic, all of the other Leafs alumni were calling him Skeletor, because he was easily the most ripped dude on the team, despite being 10, 15 years older than the second oldest guy.
Yeah.
Like abs. Ripped, this guy.
So the piece is, I'll tell you right now, ALS is unkind. This is a man who's been healthy his entire life. So a unbelievable athlete, a great businessman, and in unbelievable shape. And ALS doesn't care. And it is so heartbreaking to watch this man. You know, they ask him, what do you want to say to the fans who care about you and love you? And he gives a thumbs up to the camera, and then he has to type into a monitor that then speaks back, and he says, I am thinking about you. And it's him and his wife, and it is one of the most heartbreaking segments. So we, as Leaf fans, would just want to say a little shout out to Börje Salming, who did so many amazing things for the city of Toronto, inspired generations of people to play hockey in Sweden and all over the world. And, we're thinking about you too. That's it's just a tough one, and it's hard to see.
Yeah.
So we'll leave it at that. I'm gonna move on. It's a bit of a weird right hand turn, but when you have a sad story like that, it always
share it on the screen.
Oh, you're gonna share
so
it?
People can watch.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
there it is.
He's got the smile.
Yeah, handsome guy. Nick Backstrom. The Swing. Or was it not Backstrom? Sorry. Jeez. The Washington Capitals.
Yes.
Played a little baseball with somebody's head.
Oh, the other center.
That's right.
Evgeny Kuznetsov.
Kuzi.
I can't
Why
even
did I say
imagine
Backstrom?
Nicholas
That's okay.
Backstrom doing
No,
that.
I get it. He's not even
It's
playing.
okay.
No.
He's injured.
Yeah,
He's not on the ice.
It's okay.
Evgeny
Your brain went the number one center for the Washington Capitals, Nick Backstrom.
Yeah. Kuznetsov almost takes a guy's head off, and the NHL, and I'm lifting from Steve's Twitter account here, gives him the same penalty as you would get for skipping the All-Star game.
Yeah, it's
Can we pull up a freeze frame of that, Jesse, just so people see? Okay.
I think it's very important that we have some sort of angle.
I'm curious to know what the reasoning was for it only being one game, because I'll hear the argument that Kuznetsov didn't mean to hit him that high. Like maybe he meant to get him in the shoulder, or he meant to get him in the chest. Why then, not to make it about the Leafs, did Austin Matthews get 2 games for cross-checking Rasmus Dahlin in the shoulder, having it ride up the shoulder and hit him in the face? He got 2 games. You could argue that he should have got more, because even though it was an accident, it was him recklessly using his stick in a malicious manner.
Towards the head, too.
Towards the head.
Are you ready?
If Kuznetsov did the same thing and he got 1. So we're going to watch. Jesse has it up.
I'm gonna play the explanation. They always have these little explanation videos with that guy with the fucking monotone voice who's going to come on and tell you everything about why they suspended him. So you asked why it's only 1 game. Here is the NHL's reasoning.
How long is this?
1:30.
That's good.
Monday night in Washington, Capitals forward Evgeny Kuznetsov was penalized for high-sticking Canucks defenseman Kyle Burroughs. As the video shows, Kuznetsov takes the puck to the net to try to create a scoring chance, with Burrows defending at the far goalpost. The two collide as Kuznetsov cuts across the goal mouth, with Burrows losing his stick and Kuznetsov falling to the ice. As Kuznetsov gets back to his feet, he pulls back his stick and swings it purposefully at Burrows, making contact with his face. This is high sticking. It is important to note that this is not a careless use of the stick.
I think it froze.
Oh, it froze. Oh,
I was like, is that it?
No.
While we recognize Kuznetsov's assertion that he did not intend to hit Burrows so high.
This is your explanation,
stick. Rather, this is an intentional stick swing towards an opponent that makes high contact. While we recognize Kuznetsov's assertion that he did not intend to hit Burrows so high, players are accountable for their stick at all times. What causes this play to rise to the level of supplemental discipline is the purposeful nature of the swing and the location where it lands on the opponent. To summarize, this is high sticking. Kuznetsov has been fined once during his 603-game NHL career. The Department of Player Safety has suspended Evgeny Kuznetsov for 1 game.
The NHL's so bad at everything.
Sub-professional league.
This is high sticking, in case you weren't aware.
The key points section,
Sub-professional.
where they're just listed 2 points.
It just high sticking history.
That was it. I thought we were gonna get a list. I thought we were gonna get a fucking row of things that went into the decision. No,
Jesse,
it was just 2 things.
Sub-professional.
Oh my god, the league sucks.
Boo, you suck.
Amateur league that pays its
You want a
players.
screenshot of
It's,
that?
Yeah, can you just screen grab that? And I'm just going to throw that out there every time there's a high sticking penalty. I'm just going to tweet that. High sticking history.
One
And if you don't do it, you're not a fan. All right?
I'm begging the National Hockey League to try.
Oh, man.
I'm begging the National Hockey League to try. Again, I'm begging the National Hockey League to follow its own precedents, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, Matthews cross-checks Rasmus Dahlin, rides up, hits him in the face.
Yep.
Kuznetsov does the same thing. This is not high sticking. And the NHL goes as far to say, hey, don't give me that bullshit. You did this on purpose. So, listen, the only reason this is a 1-game suspension is Kyle Burrows is fine. That shouldn't matter. What if he knocks out an entire row of teeth, which he could have easily done there? And Matthews could have easily done as well with Rasmus Dahlin. Then what? Oh, well, then the matter of millimeters causes it to be 5, 10? Mm-hmm. I'm begging you to try. I'm begging you to have some pride. I'm begging you to care about this sport a tenth as much as the fans of this league do. That's not a 1-game suspension. What a clown show. What a fucking clown show.
I really didn't like the point in there where they said his intention wasn't to swing the stick at his face.
Gives a fuck.
That shouldn't matter at all. He
Who
did it.
cares?
He swung a stick right at a dude.
Sub-professional.
Yeah,
It's a horrible call. I don't know what else to call it. I'm so disheartened by this league. Holy shit.
If you break a rule and you do something, it's I didn't mean to do it. No, that you did it.
So when's it going to happen, guys?
What?
When's it going to happen?
What's going to happen?
When someone does the exact same thing. Thank you for that. What?
Some lint off.
It was a very long hair.
Yeah, fair enough. I have a dog. When is the exact same thing going to happen in this league and the suspension is different?
I don't know,
a month
man.
from now?
This season,
I don't
yeah.
get
2
that.
weeks?
Well, I mean, and the thing is, honestly, and we've talked about this, and I know you're tired of me beating this drum, but head injuries, guys, head injuries, head injuries. Please take the head stuff seriously.
Gustav Nyquist. He shanked someone in the face. Can't remember who it was. I think it was someone on the Minnesota Wild. He meant to spear him or slash him or whatever, but his stick got caught on the glass behind him. And when he brought his stick forward, he ends up literally spearing the guy in the face. I've never seen anything like it. And I thought he was going to get dozens of game suspension. He got 6. That is a play where the player maliciously wielded their stick, but also there was an accident involved that caused the stick to hit the player in the face. 6 games.
I have a response to that.
Yeah.
High sticking history.
Like,
Everybody,
Thank you, Jesse.
everybody, look at the key points.
That's key points.
Adam, read off the key points.
So as you can see on your screen, it might be hard for you to read this, but we have high sticking. And that is history. Okay? It's important that you understand the following. It's you know what this reminds me of? You know when you're in high school and you have to do like a presentation with PowerPoint and the person's just like, I don't fucking care about this class, and they do like 3.
Yes,
and
I
then
do know that feeling.
they just fit the third slide is like, nah, I didn't even finish it. Like
No!
that's what the slide looks like.
I don't think we're making a big enough deal about how ridiculous this is.
High sticking
in conclusion, Romeo, Juliet,
doomed.
Montagues, and Capulets
Curse on their houses. Both your houses.
do not like each other. The National Hockey League has suspended Romeo.
What was Romeo's best friend's name again?
Who cares?
Hold on.
Shakespeare.
Romeo.
James Shakespeare or something.
Earl.
Doug Shakespeare.
Mercutio.
Yeah.
Remember Mercutio?
No.
Yeah. Anyway,
I vaguely remember the name. Park.
that's
or
when
whatever.
he dies. He says a curse on both your houses, and that's how you get history.
Yep.
So anyway, ladies and gentlemen,
To be clear, this is cursing. The National Hockey League has sentenced Mercutio to "you're dead."
They didn't try.
no, they didn't try.
They just I just say fuck it. We don't care. One game.
I have a little pet theory with suspensions. So half the league is in LTIR, like it's a joke. Half the league is incentivized to spend more money in order to save on the salary cap. Makes total sense. Sub-professional league.
Mm-hmm.
Kuznetsov makes over $9 million. And a 5-game suspension
Mm-hmm.
could potentially really screw the Caps.
Oh yeah.
So the Caps do have more forwards on their team now than they need. So they do have spares.
Mm-hmm.
But like, let's say a Leaf got suspended in the final game of the preseason. Let's say Marner temporarily lost his mind, and instead of being a Care Bear, he just started, wielding his stick like an axe, and he got suspended 10 games. The Leafs would have to play short for 2 weeks. They'd have 17 skaters for like 2 weeks. They'd be fucked. I don't know what they would do. So I think stars get shorter suspensions. One, because the league
They're stars.
They do play favorites. Let's be honest. But also, teams can't afford for players with substantial cap hits to be suspended.
So I have I have a thing here. And yeah, Steve, I think that's a really good point. The Caps cap situation, just like everybody else's, is a problem. And I want to get to the cap situation in a second, because there's actually a big story about that today.
Yep.
But I look at the Kuznetsov thing, and I look at what Nazem Kadri did to Jake DeBrusk in the playoffs.
We're never going to let that go.
I'm not letting this go.
Which was what?
Which is driving his face into the boards.
Yeah, it's one of the greatest officiating failures in recent memory.
And listen, Naz's thing was bad.
It was bad.
But this is also bad. But it's funny that, and the NHL, remember, they view games missed in the playoffs as 2 regular season games.
Mm-hmm.
So Nazem Kadri served, I think it was 3 games, so that's 6 games.
They suspended him for the rest of the series,
And it went to
which
7.
I've never seen before.
So he sits out 7, or he sits out 6 games for that.
No, his suspension in Toronto was the same thing. The one versus Boston. The second one was for the rest of the series.
Rest of the series.
Yeah.
What was
Wasn't
the first
this
one?
the second one?
Yeah, I thought the DeBrusk one was the second one.
Oh,
That's
this
the-
was the second one?
that's the-
Oh, okay,
the
okay.
19
We're talking about
one,
the same
yeah.
thing. Okay.
The first one was he hit someone else. I don't remember.
I always get them confused.
I also want to throw this out there. I don't
Tommy
know if
Wingles, I
Anybody
wanna
else? Tommy Wingles.
Was it Tommy Wingles?
Some fucking Jeff guy.
Yeah.
Jake the Kaiser.
Jake DeKaiser.
The second.
I'm looking at what Kyle Clifford did in the playoffs last year in Game 1, which is a tenth of what that is.
No.
And he served what equates to 2 games.
You're forgetting history and high sticking. Like,
You're right.
Look at history and high sticking.
We must go back and examine. Can you bring it back on the board? We need to examine this one more time because maybe
The title of this episode has to be History High Sticking.
please, Jesse, bring this back up.
Oh, God.
Because it's important that we re-examine.
It's sub-adult. Vaguely act like a grown-up. I'm begging.
There it is.
Hands and knees, I'm begging.
So here it is, guys.
There you go.
Yeah.
Even though Kyle Clifford served double the amount of time that Kuznetsov will serve for a minor hit to the head. Was it a minor? It wasn't even a hit to the head?
It was a hit from behind. It was
Hit from
bad.
behind.
It was bad.
It was bad.
And he got 5. He got 5 in that
and
game.
5 and
so
a
that's
game.
so that's technically 2 games. So that's 4 games.
And he was suspended because it was a really bad hit. Oh, wait, sorry. I meant to say he was suspended because the Leafs killed the penalty and won the game. Leafs get scored on and lose that game. Guaranteed he doesn't get suspended.
And again, I want to
Sub-adult.
remind you, I want to bring you back to the PowerPoint presentation, which is high sticking and history.
History. Have you
Important.
considered?
Important that you frame this in your mind. Never forget it. Okay, let's move on. I want to say that we're going to promo our brand new podcast, Drew and Stu, in just a second. But I want to talk about this first, and then we're bringing them on because you're gonna. If you don't know Cam Stewart, you're gonna love him. You know producer Drew, and I'm very excited for this show. They already have like a crazy following anyway. So we're just so excited to have them as a part of the STPN. But we'll get that in a second. First, though, I keep saying 2025 is the year that the salary cap's due to jump big time. Well, looky here, gentlemen. The NHL is making a lot of money. And they were the ones whining and complaining over the course of the pandemic. Well, who knows if people will come back to an arena? And like within a few months, you know, the New York Knicks are selling out their arenas again. And we in Canada who still can't go to a game are like, okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was like, I feel like the revenues are coming back. And Gary Bettman confirmed it today. See, not only last year, even with the Canadian teams not even at full capacity some of the season during Omicron,
That's right.
the league still made more money than its last normal year in 2019. 2018, 2019.
Yeah.
So what I mean is like a non-pandemic year. Okay.
A full 82 game uninterrupted.
So last year they made more money than they did that year, and they didn't even have full capacity in all the arenas, especially in Canada, where you would think some of their money, some serious money's coming from Canada.
Of course.
Although we're 60 cents on the dollar right now. Don't talk to me about that. According to Batman, revenue's been pretty vibrant. The business is good. And so things are looking possible for players, the player debt, to be paid off this year. If we miss it, it'll be close and it'll be next year. My bet is that the owners are sick and tired of this. Gary Bettman would not be saying something pro player ever. And what I'm seeing, and you mentioned it with Kuznetsov, and you look at all the teams on the NHL Executive Council, with the exception of the Blackhawks, who are intentionally trying to suck.
Mm-hmm.
All of them are struggling to improve their teams. And when Jeremy Jacobs has something taken away from him or is unable to do the thing that he wants to do, I don't know if you know Jeremy Jacobs' personality. He is a bulldozer. And he's the guy among the other executive that are keeping this league, they're steering Bettman.
With Krejci and Bergeron's contracts, the Bruins are intentionally over a year ahead of time going into overage next season. And I wonder if the most powerful owner in the league had something to say about that.
Owners. Snyder family, Wirtz family.
Mm-hmm.
The NHL executive, ladies and gentlemen, is extremely powerful. You think that all 32 owners are the same? Oh, no.
Jeff
Molson's in there too. Yeah. Everybody, I am telling you, the owners are going, Gary, we're not going up $1 million next year. I don't fucking care what the debt is. We're all billionaires. It doesn't matter anyway. Mm-hmm. We're going up. And if Gary's like, well, we might hit it. They're going to hit it, guys. They're going to hit it. And it's going to go up, they're saying, about as much as $4 million just this coming year, which means the gigantic jump that everybody's been planning for might happen the next year. So it might be because it was supposed to be 2024 that it goes up $4 million, and then 2025 it goes up 10.
You could get like a overpaid third liner for that. That's pretty good.
Yeah, absolutely. Or you could just breathe again and have 47 contract slots filled and enough to make a trade in season.
There's a reason why all these teams are signing players you've literally never heard of to 7 and 8 year deals.
Yes, exactly.
We did a whole segment on the guy the Sabres signed. I don't remember his name.
Samuelson.
I believe you. What was his first name?
Matthias?
Maybe.
It was an M.
Maybe.
I just know his last name. I know most players' last name, Samuelson. Except for Kuznetsov, who I mistake for Backstrom. Stupid.
Happens all the time.
I'm just saying the NHL, after a meeting, for Gary Bettman to come out of after an NHL Board of Governors meeting, NHL Board of Governors meeting and go, well, things are good. Those players, they might pay off their debt to us owners and we'll be okay. I think the owners probably were like, Gary, we like the hard cap, but you're applying it a little stiffly, don't you think?
Yeah,
you're not letting us win the thing that we want so we can brag to our billionaire friends, which is that shiny trophy. That's what's happening. Come on. It's ridiculous. Let them have the cap, guys.
I want the cap to go up.
Yeah, we all do.
I want the cap to go up.
By the way, the Leafs and Rangers, the two biggest revenue generating teams in the NHL, and I don't believe the Caps are either, they are not on the executive council. So before you think that I'm going, well, the Leafs are on it too. The Leafs are not in the top 8. They do not do a lot of steering of NHL policy, and neither do the Rangers, which is interesting because they're the bank.
They just fund it.
Yeah, and the Capitals too. I don't think Ted Leonsis is a part of that as well, which is interesting because those teams, his group down there in Washington makes a staggering amount of money.
Yeah, the Leafs and Rangers just fund the bratty, ungrateful teenagers that is the executive council of the NHL.
With the Leafs, it's because their owners are too new. Like with the MLSE and Bell and Tannenbaum, they've owned it for over a decade now, I believe.
Well, Tannenbaum was there even longer, but yes, Bell and Rogers,
we're pushing up on a while, but that's still like baby times in terms of these guys who have owned these since the original 6.
Yeah,
and they've been around forever.
They've had it since the 20s.
Oh yeah,
like the last 20s.
Yeah. So you bought it in the 2000s. Like, welcome to the club. Like you're brand new.
Legacy cash.
We're not going to talk about that.
Also, we should mention that Agent Provocateur came out on Monday this week.
Tuesday
this week. And it was about...
I swear it's not like the Canucks game. It actually was Tuesday.
It was Tuesday. The Canucks are not a part of this discussion at all. But I messed up now. So Agent Provocateur comes out. So what we did, we had a guy on, and I got the book of
Bruce.
Bruce Dobigan.
Bruce Dobigan.
Yeah.
This is called Money Players. He's a journalist from Calgary, and there it is. So Bruce wrote this a while ago, and this is the updated version. That's how you know it's been in print for a long, long time. This is about the transition from Alan Eagleson to Bob Goodenow to how Gary got the salary cap instituted in 2004, 2005. Now, one thing that I thought my friend Steve Dangle might like, and I'm wondering if you've heard the episode yet, have you?
Not yet.
So what happened was, and there's a whole amazing story around this that is truly tragic. If you're a fan of people getting paid the wage that they deserve, is that Bob Goodenow prepared the NHL players for 18 months, saying, listen, Gary Bettman wants a lockout. He's not going to stop until he gets a hard cap. Prepare, save your money. It's going to be 18 months to 2 years. He said, if we can get to the 18-month mark, the owners are going to flip out and we're going to crack them and we're going to win. 6 months in to the lockout, the NHL had won it. And there's a whole bunch of reasons why, and I think you're going to be fascinating because the season actually didn't need to be canceled, but Gary pushed back so hard on them because he wanted the season to be canceled that they had to cancel it anyway. So you're going to hate that. Number 2, you're not going to like the names of some of the players that turned on the NHLPA. Because there is a group of players that you grew up loving that said, whatever it is, just give it to us. We just want to play hockey. And you got to remember at this time, the Leafs had a payroll of roughly 80 million. The Red Wings had a payroll of roughly 80 million. I think the Rangers did. I think Philadelphia, Detroit, a whole bunch of teams were right up there. And Gary Bettman said it's going to be 45 million. And they said, well, what if we did 51? He said, okay, fine, we're canceling the season then. Mm-hmm. And a couple of the players that said, no, Gary, we really want to play hockey. And they met separately of the PA. You know who those players are?
I know one of them is Brendan Shanahan.
One of them is Brendan Shanahan. Can you name another one?
Jeremy Roenick?
Yes. Can you name another one?
Canuck.
Naslund?
Linden.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And what about a Flame?
Oh, this one was bad.
Not a Kinla.
Iggy!
No!
Iggy!
No!
Yeah. This story is unbelievable.
Bruce and Alan did a great job of illustrating how these players, for the first time in their life, just sat around and couldn't play hockey.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, we can't do this. We're in the cave.
They blinked.
Yeah.
And they blinked within the first 6 months, and Gary canceled the season anyway. He would have had a deal. And what's interesting is Gary, there is one little silver lining on this. Gary overplayed his hand. He could have had complete victory, but he pushed even harder, thinking he'd win more, win hard. And he ended up screwing the owners.
Good.
A little bit. The players are mostly screwed, but there's a little owner screwing there too.
That's actually the name of a rock movie that's coming out next year. No, Win Hard.
Oh, Win Hard.
Then after that, he's coming out with Win Harder. 2.
I like that.
You know?
I like that. To win, two harder.
And he's going to wear a tan shirt and camo pants.
And you're going to think it's Jumanji.
Let's go.
The new one.
The new one.
Anyway, you're gonna. It's a fascinating hockey story. It's a fascinating business story, and it's a fascinating story about humanity and the way people's brains work. It's absolutely gripping, and you sit there with your jaw dropping, like, how is this not out there? And I think that, I think the more I find out about the NHL, the more I'm shocked that anybody believes anything Gary Bettman says anymore. And like, I get it all the time when I'm like, guys, you got to move off the hard cap. But people are like, my team's gonna die. It's not gonna die. It's not gonna die. My small market team will never win. You're right. The Milwaukee Bucks never won a championship.
Yeah.
The irrelevant Golden State Warriors, who were irrelevant for 40 or 50 years, have not won any championships.
No, in baseball, we just watched the Cleveland Guardians make it to the fucking divisional round.
Yeah.
Also, like, small market does not equal no money, because the Lightning are one of the strongest teams, biggest spenders anyway, in the entire NHL. And I don't know if you've been paying attention, but they've done well in recent memory.
The amount of money through revenue sharing that the Coyotes get every year with your hard cap that you swear keeps your team afloat. The Coyotes, which is they are the least money-making team. They make minus negative $1 million.
Yeah, they lose money.
The NHL writes them a check with revenue sharing with the hard cap that's supposedly saving your team for $5 million.
The Leafs are paying for the Coyotes to exist.
Right. But what I'm saying is that
their own humiliation.
it's only $5 million.
Right.
That's not enough. You can't even get a first liner for that.
No. Well, first liner for who?
You're right. Nick Ritchie's 2.5.
Yeah. Yeah, I know they won. Shut up.
Long story short, you gotta listen to this. It's just wild. And guess what? We're like 3.5, 4 years away from the next one. It's right before Gary's next contract ends, and he is apparently really going to go for it again.
Whoa, that's when his contract ends? When did he sign that?
His contract was signed right a couple weeks after the Kyle Beach situation came out.
December
in the fall,
last year.
December last year, right when it was at its peak and people were telling him to step down. The owner said, we'll give you a 5-year contract. The 4th year of that deal is the next apparent lockout. Remember, the players have only struck once. The 2.5 years that we've lost of hockey, Gary Bettman. Those are lockout years.
So the future of the sport lies in a guy who has no future in the game? Cool. Great.
Scary.
Oh my God, retire. Leave us all alone, for the love of God.
2 things. One, I would like to do professional Beyblading when the lockout happens.
Yeah,
if you guys want to join me. We'll get like those little Beyblade stadiums, and let's set them up here and do live streams of Beyblade competitions.
I bet the NBA will fall even further behind the NHL during the next NHL lockout.
Oh man. Oh man.
FML.
Yeah.
It's either Beyblade or Yu-Gi-Oh! I haven't decided.
Yeah.
And two, the NFL owners just had their meeting because they were discussing
Another chump league.
Giving Roger Goodell an extension, and 31 owners voted to, hey, we're going to start negotiating an extension with Roger Goodell.
I know who didn't.
And then one didn't, and that was Jerry Jones, the owner of
Jerry Jones?
Of the Dallas Cowboys.
What?
And he said out of the meeting, there was a report, and he told Robert Kraft, the owner of the Patriots, don't fuck with me. And I wish we had leaks out of the NHL owners meetings like this, because that is some spicy billionaire drama.
I thought Dan Snyder would vote for sure. No, Dan Snyder hates those guys.
It was
you know that Dan Snyder has hired private investigators to follow every owner around and Roger Goodell to leak shit on them in case they try to kick him out of the league.
Who's hair guy?
Hair guy.
He looks like He's got red hair and he looks like a mushroom.
Oh, that's the guy that the Raiders, LA Raiders, Vegas Raiders, not LA Raiders,
What's
Vegas.
his name?
Oh, Al Jones, or his dad was Al. What's his name? Owner of the Raiders. It's
type in worst haircut in human history.
Mark. It's Mark Davis. That's what it is.
Okay.
It's a terrible haircut, but I feel like that's a brand now. You got to respect him for owning it for that long.
You know, I don't think I do.
In response to Jerry Jones telling the other billionaire in the room not to fuck with him, Robert Kraft said, "Excuse me?" And then Jones replied, "Don't mess with me." And
oh, that's called blinking, ladies and gentlemen. Wait, where is this from?
It was a report from, I don't know who initially got the leak. I think ESPN, Seth Wickersham had the, I think, initial leak of the meetings that went on. But isn't that so much drama? If I could watch any reality show, it would be NFL billionaires in a room telling each other to F off.
I badly need NFL owners Gossip Girl.
I love this.
Isn't this fun? So, Steve.
Yes.
If we had a live stream of the NHL owners meeting and you could recreate how that went, how would it go?
Oh, man. And we got to get Drew and Stu on after here, so.
I don't care, do you? No. I also don't care. All right. I guess we'll sit here for another, 45 minutes, make it look like we did something. Yeah, okay. All right, cool. And that's what they did.
Yep. Let's bring on Drew and Stu and launch this show, baby. Hey, listen, we usually make a bigger deal when a show debuts on our network, but we flat out did not even have time last week to do it. And it honestly,
the first episode went up. I'm like, oh,
they're up. Yeah. So welcoming producer Drew and Cam Stewart, the Drew and Stu podcast.
Hey.
Hello. Do you like our applause, Cam?
Yeah, it was good. No, I'm not used to it. Drew just kills me though. I tell you, Drew comes way back. Camera 2, Drew. I love this man. He told me he was going to give me slices of meat from his parents' meat store. That seemed to be a lie, but everything else about this guy, he's 100%. Love working with Drew. Big Buffalo Bills fan. As for the Avalanche, it must be nice cheering for winners, Drew. But hey, hopefully we pick winners on the show. It's been tough. The NFL can slap you around, guys. As we know, Drew knows I was on fire the first couple weeks of the season. Now I'm getting beat down, but it's a lot of fun. We just have picks against the spread, and hopefully we make people money.
Yeah, and this is the thing, right? So this show is if you're a fantasy football nut, this is the place. This is where you want to be listening, obviously. And what was crazy is we kind of just threw your video up there, and it gets over 10,000 views in a couple of days. We're like, holy smokes! This is a crazy. People love this. So how did this show start? And how did you guys even get connected?
I'll go back. So back when I started way back at the Fantasy Sports Network, which no longer exists, me and Cam were working together and we decided to start a spread show just because I grew up watching Cam Stewart on The Score in the NFL. I don't know if you guys remember that show when we were younger.
Of course.
And I was like, the raging redhead, this guy's the best, better in the business. So I was like, I want to do a show with him.
Settle down, Drew.
And then I did a show with him and find out that he loves betting on underdogs like Cleveland Browns and stuff and loses me a bunch of money. So my theories weren't correct with that, but he's a great guy, great host. And yeah, he wins people a lot of money.
Used to.
Now, Cam, Drew is known. Maybe Drew's got some good picks. How would you rate Drew? Before I ask the real question, how would you rate Drew's picks out of 10? Like, how good is he?
7.
7.
Oh, that's pretty
I'm
good.
going to be honest. Drew knows though he's becoming more like, and I'm not right all the time, but I teach him a few tricks about trap lines and stuff. Drew was more like he likes Clemson, like a good team. He likes the Avalanche. Like all of his teams win. So sometimes I tell him, I go, listen.
The Bills missed the playoffs for 20 straight years, Cam.
Doesn't matter. They still cover numbers and they kill teams. They're an above average football team. They beat Kansas. Drew, they're good. You're right. They don't win Super Bowls, but they're a damn good football team. You could say they're the best team in the league. But I'm telling him about trap lines and stuff. And now Drew knows. Like we were looking at Jacksonville Giants and Drew's learning the little tricks, right, Drew? When something's too good to be true, it's too good to be true most of the time, right?
Yeah, Vegas likes to lay traps. When you see a really good team as an underdog, you're like, whoa, why is that the case? Because Vegas wants you to bet on the underdogs, but you got to bet on the favorites in that spot.
Right. And so the reason I ask about Drew's betting is because, his picks with betting 7 out of 10, respectable. Because mine would be like a 2 out of 10, Cam, on your scale if Drew's a 7. But his food picks,
I was about to say,
they're abominable.
Go to jail.
You're aware of how bad Drew's taste in food generally is, aren't you, Cam?
And music too. This guy likes boy bands and stuff. But anyway, other than that, we're not.
Blink 182 is not a boy band.
Whatever. It's just guys. We were such degenerate gamblers over at the Fantasy Sports. I used to do a jockey handicapping show. Not even horses. Like we were rating jockeys from jockey And honestly, I'm not even going to lie to you guys. It was like this company from Japan, and we won like $21,000. I'm like, hey guys, like every make a pick. We were doing the show, and then they cut it off, right? Do you remember the first 2 weeks?
We basically
bankrupted our own company. I guess they didn't like it too much. They gone.
But Cam is not good for food takes just because Cam loves everything. There would be times where I had lunches at work, and I'd be like, I can't finish this. Cam comes in there to finish it every single time. No matter what the food was, that was Cam's jam.
You're right, guys. I'm brutal. Like no friend likes to eat with me. Like I'm always burning a hole through their plate. Like I don't know what it is about food, and like it's really rude. Like even my girlfriend's bad too. Like she takes food off my plate. That's why we're a perfect match for each other. We just love to chow. You're right, Drew. I stole a lot of not steal people's lunches at work, but
no, it's more. Are you done with that?
I'm hungry. Yeah, you done with that? You done with that?
He's like the kid when you're in elementary school and your parents bring you McDonald's and you're sitting there. He's the kid that's waiting for the French fry. Like, hey, you can eat all those fries. That's Cam.
Hovering and lurking.
Yes,
that was me.
So one of the things that was odd to us is that previously you've never had this podcast available via audio. You only could watch it. So now officially, if you go onto Spotify or Apple Music, wherever you get your podcasts, Jesse, you can now subscribe and download, correct?
Except as is tradition, Google is taking too long.
Yes.
So it's not available on Google Podcasts until like next week.
Google has to approve everything it's good enough for Apple and Spotify.
Some one person is sitting there manually approving all these podcasts. Anyways, it's available everywhere except for Google. Yeah, go listen to it.
Even if you have like a smart speaker and you say, hey, Alexa, put on Drew and Stu, it will. And so, guys,
sounds good.
We just wanted to do a quick launch and say welcome to the network. And Drew, we hired you, so we haven't even had you on yet. Yeah. So we're thrilled to have you part of the network. Cam, man, it's first time ever talking, but I have watched you for years.
Wow,
years.
Sorry. Yeah, we've had some good times working at the Score. I've taken darts to the neck. Like we've had some great skits that HR really didn't like, but hey, that's life. We try to have a little bit of fun. Dangle, I know you're a Leafs fan. Maybe one day you can come to my house and we can watch the game and rage together when they don't win at minus 530. Sounds like a plan. We'll bring Drew over too. Get some chicken wings and some beers and party, because that team breaks my heart and wallet as well. But no, thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. And I love working with Drew. It's kind of like a yin and yang thing. Drew's like
fair.
I love him. I love him like a brother, and he's been good to me ever since we've worked together. And I'm happy for his career takeoff. He's doing a hell of a lot better than me. Congratulations, Drew.
Scan, buddy.
Who would rage harder, do you think, guys? Is it Cam or Steve?
I think.
Ooh.
Oh, I think I have more of a nervous energy that explodes, whereas you're there, man.
It's
Yeah,
right
like
along.
Steve, I bring it up and then it's like lava out of a volcano. Like,
Right?
you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
I'm calm for a while and then it's like absolute explosion. Like I usually don't yell. "Ah!" Like after some of those NFL games, like I know, and I don't chuck converters anymore. I don't break dishes, but
Anymore.
But once in a while, when you have that game, Drew, like on a bad beat and you got a lot of money on it, like just I snap. But the thing is, I see Dangle. Dangle's more like little snaps. Mine's more of a volcano at the end. But it's hard. But we bet every day, right, Drew? I don't get mad about like every loss, but when a team burns like a 27-point lead or a 4-goal lead in hockey or something, then I'll snap. You know?
Well, don't bet on the Canucks then.
Actually, I had the Canucks last night. Another 2-goal lead. These guys are unbelievable. You got to take them plus 1.5 in parlays. Can you believe that? They have dropped a lead to 2 or plus goals in every single game this
It's
year.
insane.
I thought they had a player-only meeting. Guess it didn't work.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Well, gentlemen, we're so thrilled to have you as a part of the network. You guys are extremely entertaining show and awesome if you want to get your lines. If you're a football fanatic, these guys are the guys to listen to. Drew and Stu available for audio for the first time and obviously on the SDPN channel in video as well. Thanks, boys. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys. Man.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
You know, I got an issue with dress shirts.
What's that?
Got an issue with dress shirts because I'm an oddly proportioned man.
Yeah.
Okay. I have a big butt. And you know what? I'm not gonna lie to you. My body proportions have changed a little bit since the pandemic. I haven't been to the gym as much.
You don't wear shirts on your butt.
When you're tucking a dress shirt in, it matters. And so what happens is my butt, which sits super high,
Depending on how the shirt sits, when you're caked up,
that's right.
it can be an issue.
So listen, we want you to try this, okay? We want you to try this. We want you to try Roan, okay? The dress shirt was due for a radical reinvention, and Roan stepped up to the challenge. Roan is the commuter shirt. It is the most comfortable, breathable, flexible shirt known to man, and here is why. Roan's comfortable 4-way stretch fabric provides breathability and flexibility that leaves you free to enjoy whatever life throws your way. From the work commute to 18 holes of golf. There you go. Okay?
Wow.
It's time to feel confident with a wrinkle-free shirt without the hassle. With Roan's wrinkle release technology, wrinkles disappear as you stretch and wear the shirt. It's that easy.
That's cool.
And with Gold Fusion and anti-odor technology, also good for sweaty boy over here, you'll be smelling fresh and clean all day long. On top of that, Roan is 100% machine washable, so you can ditch the dry cleaner altogether. Okay, now, the commuter shirt can get you through any workday, and we want to give you 20% off. Okay? Head to Roan.com. That's RHONE.com/Dangle. Use the promo code Dangle. You'll get 20% off the entire order. The entire order. Again, that's 20% off the entire order.
Wow.
When you go to RHONE.com/what? Dangle,
Caked
that's
up.
right. Want to bet? You can do it. Sports Interaction. It's Canada's sportsbook. Football continues. World Series right around the corner. And of course, we've been talking about it and we will continue talking about it. Hockey season has started. Bet pregame, live and play, or on one of the many prop bets made for Canadians by Canadians. Sports Interaction makes it easy to deposit, easy to play, and easy to cash out.
High five.
High five. Woo! Yeah, high five with the prop on the table. Join now to see all that sports betting has to offer. Head to sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. That's sportsinteraction.com/SDPN. Ontario only, 19 plus. Please play responsibly. High five.
The Presser. SDP. The Steve Dangle Press Conference.
So in response to last episode, somebody asked us in the press conference if the President's Trophy team, to up the importance of it, should get something, right? Mm-hmm. And Connor wrote me with an interesting suggestion, and I wanted to see what you guys think.
Connor Ingram.
It's not Connor Ingram.
Should have been.
He said, hey, I'm just listening to your New York Slice episode. I think a cool thing the league could do for a President's Trophy winner is give them an extra $2 million on the salary cap for the next season. No. Now, what that would be... Now, I said, whoa. Maybe $500,000. But I think it's a cool idea, and it erases, no matter what, if they win the next year, it doesn't compound and build. But for what... You should get something. Wouldn't it be interesting if you got either an extra draft pick, like we mentioned, or you get $750,000?
Steve's idea of the 33rd pick, I think, is better. I would vote for that one.
Oh, so now it's not stupid?
It's a lot more valuable than
like
the $750,000 is, I think. That the 33rd pick would be huge value. Still technically first round.
Yeah, you can't.
No, it's second round.
You can't buy the 30. Shut up.
You can't buy that for $750,000.
You can't buy the 33rd pick for $750,000. Listen, I've heard worse suggestions. That's a decent idea. It's a decent idea.
It's just I would.
But
there
it's just
would be
that 1 year.
problems on how it continues, because like if you sign a guy and then your salary cap is less the following year, you're kind of fucked.
Yeah, but don't be a dumbass.
Like if you're the Leafs and I guess for that next season you just get that extra cap.
Just get it
room
for 1 year,
and then you got to go back.
Yeah,
Don't be a dumbass.
that's what's fun. Teams are dumb. Owners are dumb. GMs are dumb. This is great.
The reason we have a cap.
That's right. They couldn't. Bruce Stobigan says it in the Alan Walsh episode. He's like, the owners could not help themselves.
Guys, we don't have any money. Don't spend any money. Okay. And then
$250 million later.
Well, and then the owner says to the GM, hey, why are we losing games? Well, because you won't let me spend any money. Well, go out and spend $5 million more. And they sign some, I don't know, third pairing defenseman to $5 million.
There you go.
Times 5. And then all of a sudden, the Flyers and Red Wings and Leafs are all spending like $75 million.
Mm-hmm.
And then 2 years later, the salary cap is, I believe, 42.5. Yeah, they were fucked.
Also, on a quick shout out to Chris Cuthbert, who is my favorite color guy in the world. He's favorite. Is that color? No, he's not color. He's
he's play-by-play.
Play-by-play.
Yeah.
I love Chris Cuthbert, and the Leafs have teased their reverse retro jersey.
Mm-hmm.
We've already told you what it should be. It should be a mix of the 70s shoulders and the now patch. That's what it should be. But Chris Cuthbert has a much more simple solution, and I just want to throw this out there. All he said was legible numbers, legible numbers, legible numbers. Because the reverse retro with the gray, he couldn't pick out which player was which because the gray and the blue were too similar.
That must have been so friggin' hard. That's hilarious.
Very funny.
That's hilarious. I'm struggling at the beginning of this season because the Leafs have new players. I'm usually able to pick out players by their shape. Like literally.
Yes, or the way they skate, their gait, right?
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but I too often when the season begins, I'm like, who the fuck is it's Calle Yarncroke.
Right.
But Alex Kerfoot, I don't know how to describe it, but he has a shape. There's a lot of edges.
A lot of twists.
There's a lot of shoulders there.
Yeah.
Marner, he crouches.
Yeah.
Riley's he chugs. He skates like a freight train, and he's got those long strides. I don't know how to describe it.
Jesse, first question.
So I got here on the screen. This is what is the reverse retro is probably going to look like tomorrow when they drop it.
So you got it up on the screen right now?
Yeah.
That's what you think it'll be?
So this was from a tweet called Ali Murgy. The Leafs forever, I've been told, are going to break the rules a bit of reverse retro. Source tells me it's going to be a white-based jersey with parts of the 2007 alternate.
But that 2007 alternate was the 2002 regular. It was the same jersey. I remember I had that jersey.
And not with the blue across the shoulders. That's different.
Come on, guys.
That's a different look. But so we'll get it tomorrow, but that's supposedly what it's going to look like.
It's good. It's good.
It's okay.
Yeah. I'm not wild about the shoulder patch, but that's the
old one.
It is the old one. It's better than the last one.
Oh, last year. Yeah.
And now I kind of want it.
The best jersey the Leafs have released in the last 10 years has been the Justin Bieber jersey.
I think so too. Honestly, I think it's so cool.
Mm-hmm.
I also was one of the weird ones. If the game didn't suck, I think people would like the jersey more. Jesse still has his. Is the white on white?
I think part of the
captain,
reason
my
jersey ever.
Part of the reason I hate it is the Leafs lost, I think 6-2.
Yeah, but it was the white on white was. Yeah. I thought that was
also
cool.
Now I take back what I said. That jersey is the best jersey.
You think that's the best one?
Yeah. Oh, captain,
is
my
it
captain.
the best jersey or best uniform because of the white pants and the white gloves and they just.
I like the jersey. Especially because it's so, when you see it in person, it's like the crest is kind of sparkly and platinumy. It looks beautiful.
I think this needs to be sparkly to be actual reverse retro.
Can they just do the one that I said? It's the best one.
It looks like they're not doing it.
Mine is the best one, guys.
Unpopular opinion. The Leafs have been around for over 100 years. You don't need to make a new jersey. Just sell an Adidas version of one of your old ones. How many Leaf jerseys have there ever been? 40?
Yeah.
Just, you don't need to make a new one.
Yeah, and then there'll be like the same. I don't like the TML We'll see. Maybe it'll surprise us
tomorrow, so we'll talk about it on Friday.
I'm going to file that under fine. Take my money.
You're getting this?
I like that.
Yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we might as well get it. Okay, I want to end on one thing here. Steve, don't look at the screen.
If you look at the effing screen.
It's adorable. You think I can read that?
Julian1124 on our Discord. Go to SDPN.
Julian McKenzie. Okay.
Not Julian McKenzie.
Okay.
Go to sdpn.ca and click the link to join us on Discord. It is a thriving community of fun people. Stump the Steve Stas / Adam. The Leafs, since January 1st, 2022, have played 10 games versus the Sabres, Habs, and Coyotes. What's their record?
Son of a bitch.
How many points do they have?
It's not great. They were. I know they were like 3-1 against the Sens last year.
They're not in this conversation.
So there's 10 games.
10 games.
10 games versus the Sabres, Habs, and Coyotes. This calendar year, January 1st.
Okay, I believe the Leafs lost their last game of the regular season to Montreal last year.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. I believe the outdoor game against Buffalo and Hamilton.
They lost. We were there.
They lost. It was terrible.
It was fucking freezing, too.
It made it worse.
Nothing like driving to Hamilton.
Yeah, those pants went right into the garbage.
By the way, thank you to the SDP listener who threw me the fucking glove warmers, man. You saved my life.
Yeah.
God.
I wore snow pants. If you go to an outdoor game, wear snow pants.
Listen to him.
Coyotes just beat the Leafs, so there's 3.
That's in there.
Montreal beat the Leafs in the opener. There's 4. Leafs beat Ottawa. In
What are you talking about? What does that have to do with Ottawa?
Oh yeah, sorry, Adam fucked me up. So it's Montreal, Buffalo,
Coyotes.
Oh, Coyotes. Oh, I thought for some reason I put Ottawa in there. That's my bad.
How many points they got versus these 3 teams this calendar year? We're gonna do points instead of.
I'm gonna say 4.
You think they got 4 points, Adam?
4
How many points do you think they got?
I'll give them at least 7. At least 7.
This is out
Have
of
some faith.
This is out of 20.
This is a great hockey team.
Yeah, 20 possible points.
Yeah, and they're trash against bad teams. We know that. So I'm giving them at least 7.
This calendar year, since January 1st, 2022.
Don't do this.
Versus the Sabres, Habs, and Coyotes. The Leafs have played 10 games. Their record in those 10 games is 1-8-1. They have 3 points.
I hope if you disagreed with the first segment of the show that you listened long enough to hear that.
This team they're not that good.
Killer instinct, please. Please, Robert and Jamie, I know you're watching this. Please put this online. Please make this a clip that everybody sees.
There's a reason I called my 4th LFR gaslighting. Everyone, I cannot fucking believe the number of Leaf fans who I assume have cheered for the Leafs for their entire lives are like, guys, this isn't a big deal.
It's a big deal.
It's
Stop ignoring the evidence of your eyes and ears. Holy shit.
I understand it's not a big deal if you don't expect the team to be, because your expectations for this team is Stanley Cup.
Yes, I expect them to challenge for the Stanley Cup.
I'm taking that a step back after everything I've seen. Like all the evidence we're getting, it's not a big deal because I don't expect them to win these games anymore. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, they just don't want to show up for them. You do,
right?
You do have to play hard against easy teams.
They don't.
You do have to play hard. That's the thing.
1-8-1.
They don't.
You don't get to play easy against easy teams. You must play hard against easy teams.
They don't play hard ever. They don't have it. Like
Okay.
it's all there. They don't have it.
Holy shit.
Not surprised.
I need a coffee crisp.
Fucking
That's
gone. Let me read it one more time.
Oh God.
Versus the Sabres, Habs, and Coyotes this calendar year, the Toronto Maple Leafs are 1-8-1.
By the way, I got some breaking news, and I'm sorry to step on you here, Jesse. The City of Calgary and Calgary Sports and Entertainment have agreed to restart formal discussions on a new arena. No deal in place as of yet, but they're talking about it now.
Oh, yeah! Who's ready for 8 more months of this shit? Let's go!
The Steve
by Sports Interaction, Canada's sportsbook.
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.